These members of the Hamas caucus, they flex their muscles on this to say, we are not getting this spending bill through if you have support for Israel in that spending bill. And Nancy Pelosi said, okay, we'll take the support for Israel out.
Or $1 billion funding opportunity for a defensive weapons system for Israel, and that becomes the basis upon which they draw their line in the sand. And the problem with this is they are drawing lines in the sand, Fan, and looks like Congress goes right along with it, or at least the House.
The leader of the Democrats, Steny Hoyer, wants to say that this is just a handful of members. Well, if it's just a handful of members, go back to what Jordan talked about. Be a leader of your party. Leave the language in there. Say we're standing with Israel, and you can vote with us or you can vote against us. You can't just say this is a handful of members when what they insist on, Jay, is what you do.
Nancy Pelosi bowed down to the Hamas caucus. She kissed the ring of the terrorists. She said, we will strip the funding of the Iron Dome so that you, special squad, Hamas-loving, radical socialists, remember, these are all terms like socialists they embrace, don't have to vote either for a spending bill or against it because it has something in there where Israel can defend itself.
This $1 billion is not just to resupply the rockets. We have a long-term relationship where we share technology and research concerning the Iron Dome. The Iron Dome was originally created by Israeli scientists. What we did, because it was so good, it was better than some of our own anti-missile systems, we joined with them in research and development. So this $1 billion is not just for supplies, it's continued research and development, because the same concept, this same system is what the United States military also uses to defend Americans as well. So it's absolutely irresponsible.
So it's really
irrational.
Research and development that would help us.
Absolutely. This is not only anti-Israel, it's anti-American.
Presume that the Iron Dome is not fully funded. This then exposes the lives of Palestinians to violence, because Israel would have to perhaps send in troops if indeed there's another conflict.
So why would the squad, even if they are the Hamas caucus, want a system that actually limits additional conflict, limits civilian casualties on both sides to be inoperable? Because Hamas can't do any real damage to Israel so long as the Iron Dome is functioning. Realize that for a second. That's the only rationale for the Iron Dome defunding, is that you want the Hamas rockets to be able to hit the civilians in Israel.
The people of Israel suffer. Our own national security suffers. Mm-hmm. And the short-term benefit of this is some kind of political win. But I'm thinking, who is the base that likes this? Well, it's the ultra-left progressive base that is anti-Israel.
This is indicative to me that the left, they do not want peace in the Middle East. They hate anything related to Israel, even if it saves lives and promotes peace. And it's really all we need to know about where the Democrat Party is going. It's a shame and it's sad, and I know not all Democrats agree with them, but they are allowing it to happen.
I mean, 8 members of Congress that are in this caucus that are basically targeted the expenditure for the defense of Israel. And the House leadership buckles.
We have a failure of leadership in Congress in the form of Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer. We have a failure of leadership within the Biden administration. And I think at the end of the day, we can conclude that many progressives in Congress are now openly expressing their hatred of Israel, but they also are expressing their hatred of American commitments to defend an ally.
The Biden administration was just last week, they were saying that the leverage we have over the Taliban, in the very same reason that where 9/11 was planned and orchestrated, their leverage over the Taliban, Jay, was that the United States would provide funding for them. So I think the fair question to ask these members of Congress, Speaker Pelosi and Leader Hoyer, is why would you rather fund the Taliban than our greatest ally in the region, Israel? Because, Jay, that's the dynamic here.
We have members of Congress that have taken a firm stance pro-terrorism. What do Hamas and Hezbollah have in common with ISIS, the Taliban, and Al-Qaeda? All of these groups call for the destruction of Israel and the destruction of the United States. So it's a betrayal of Israel and the U.S., to be sure, but it's also pro-terrorist.
It is a shame that we are now in a position where we add to the partisan list of issues where we can't actually share common ground is that the Democrat Party, I don't care what they tell you, is the party of Hamas. It is the party of terrorism. It is the party of Islamic radicalism. It's the party of the Squad. They have the control right now. The Republican Party is the only party standing up for Israel. This is a new paradigm in Washington, D.C. The shift has now happened from just being a protest voice to actually getting what they want and the defunding of an Israeli program.